Hey guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. Now, obviously, we're still in our temporary digs because our actual studio is still being built. So today's comparison video is going to be a little bit shorter, and such, we're looking at a slightly different topic. We're taking a look at bolt snaps. So these are undeniably one of the most useful bits of kit that scuba divers use. I put them on pretty much anything, and they do come in lots of different shapes and sizes. The different sort of bolt snaps have their different uses, but even in the different sizes and styles, there's still some differences, and most of it is down to XDeep at the moment. So this year they brought out the NX series of bolt snaps, and it's got a few different differences that you should really be looking out for, because the bolt snap sort of design has kind of stagnated since it kind of started. They do the job, but XDeep have just made it a little bit better. Right now we're going to take a look and see whether it's actually worth it. So in front of me I've got an NX bolt snap, the large from XDeep, and I also have a DIR Zone large-eyed bolt snap. So these I'd put on my SPG or maybe on a stage cylinder, something that you can put your finger through so you can control the bolt snap and move it around, and they're very slightly different, so we're going to be taking a closer look at the different features. So starting off with the DIR Zone, if I just clip this one away. So this is a pretty standard design. If you sort of Google bolt snap, this is pretty similar to what you'll get. So starting at the top, we've got this sort of rounded hook at the top, very traditional, a normal sort of gate, a small little sort of trigger on the side, standard body, and then a large sized eye. So this is so that you can put your finger through and then control it. Just makes it easier to sort of find the D-ring and sort of move around whatever this is attached to. Obviously the eye size changes depending on the use, but for this is what we're comparing. So with this one, yeah, it's a traditional design. The trigger is a little bit small for me. If you've got a sort of big clunky glove, then trying to get your finger right into that, it can be a little bit tricky, especially if your hands are getting a bit colder. And the spring itself, the mechanism is nice and smooth. With a cheap bolt snap, you'll really feel that that gets quite scratchy, and that gets really annoying. It's got quite a potent, quite a powerful spring on this. So again, small trigger with a strong spring. If you're wearing it with gloves, it can be a little bit tricky to open up. Now we compare that to the new XDeep, and they're pretty much the same size. The XDeep is a little bit smaller, but it does have a few different changes. So the first one is in the shape of the head. So this section here, you can see we now have a 90-degree butt, and that just gives you something to push against when you're opening up that bolt snap. Just means that you get better control of the bolt snap. Long straight edge goes around to a hook, and then the gate, the bit that actually opens, is much larger. So again, when you're trying to clip off onto something, you've got a bigger target to fit over your D-ring. Just makes it a lot easier to actually get it in. The trigger itself is much larger, and it's got these sort of rounded edges, so it's less likely to become a snag hazard. And because it's that much longer, if you've got big clunky gloves on, much easier to open that gate. Nice smooth action, much the same as the DIR Zone, but the spring is noticeably softer, so it still closes, it still does its job, but it's a lot easier to actually open it up. The eye is the other thing. So as you can see, it's offset, so it's off to one side instead of being sort of centrally located, and that just means that when you're holding onto it, it just sits more naturally in your hand, and it's very easy to find that that sort of trigger when you're looking to sort of clip it off onto something. So they're both made out of 316 stainless steel, which is a marine grade steel. It's sort of anti-corrosion. It's going to resist rusting. Obviously, if you leave it in salt water or sort of damp with the air, it will rust over time. But just give it a quick rinse and make sure it's dry in between dives. They'll both be fine. The XDeep is $11.95 recommended retail, that's in British pounds, whereas the DIR Zone is £10.50, so it's a little bit cheaper, or you could say this one's a little bit more expensive, but as overall features, I definitely say it's worth it. I actually use these new NX bolt snaps on sort of pretty much all of my kit. The smaller version has a really tiny little eye, which is a genius sort of concept, because when you're attaching a Boltsnap onto a second stage or onto a torch or something, you don't want all this space where you're tying it on. It's just going to be attached onto the item, and then you want it as fairly small and compact as possible. Just means that your stuff is getting a lot closer, staying close to your body. But actually, for a large eye Boltsnap, yeah, I'd buy this one all day. It's definitely worth that little bit extra. But hey, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. What type of Boltsnaps do you use? I always use steel over brass. I find brass just is a little bit too bendy. Okay, it doesn't rust, but actually it's a bit of a soft metal. Let's talk about Boltsnaps in the comments below. What would you like us to compare next? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Safe diving. We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.